great book, The New Jim Crow. Subtitle, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Color Blindness. Boy, is it dynamic, is it on the point. Spent a lot of time with Michelle Alexander, and we're going to take your calls. Here is something we want you to think about. Topic for the day, we're going to talk about the new Jim Crow. Is there a new Jim Crow in America? In the age of mass incarceration? I like that. Here's a question. Do you agree? Do you think that America has slipped back, retreated back, backpedaled back into the age of Jim Crow? Jim Crow, that connotes a lot of things. We're talking about segregation, schools, education, public accommodations, housing, and needless to say, subtitle of the book, The Criminal Justice System. Has America slipped back into the age of Jim Crow? That's number one. We're also going to have that on Ustream.tv, HutchinsonReport.tv. We'll also have that there as a poll question. If you cannot get in when we open the phones, and periodically we're going to do that because we want to know what you think. In addition to that, we're going to have a few other things too. There's some lectures this week at UCLA. We're thinking and we're hoping, depending on how time goes, we may have a couple of the participants. I'll leave that as a surprise. Also, Immigration Rights, Reform Rights March. Huge march last week, actually two. Washington, D.C., week before, L.A., twice. We may have, in fact, a guest on, just to talk very briefly about that. Give us kind of a heads up and a preview of where we go. All right. A couple of quick announcements first, actually about 5 different things. The Los Angeles Urban Policy Roundtable, we are going to have a launch of what we call our Community Help Guide. The Community Help Guide will be a resource guide that if you have a problem, housing, jobs, education, schools that is, and needless to say, legal and or health, all of the above, the Community Resource Guide, Monday at 10 o'clock at Councilman Bernard Parks, and we take our hats off to him. He's been very supportive, something I've long dreamed of, Mr. Baez, putting this resource guide together. I can't tell you how many people call our office and say, you know what, my cousin got beat up, my son got evicted, my this, my that. I didn't get my Social Security check coming in. I think I heard you say something, a conversation with the gentleman about
the fact that a person who will remain nameless, her partner had passed after 45 years, and she was told she will not get any survival benefits from Social Security. She has been ordered to vacate her home, and pretty soon she's going to be out in the street.
All right, so in the Community Help Guide, Pedro Baez, what we do is here we've compiled a number of many, over 500 listings of where people can go for help and support. That will be Monday, 10 o'clock at Councilman Bernard Parks' office on Crenshaw, at Crenshaw District Office. Stay tuned on that. Update on Torrance. On Monday's going to be a busy day. Monday, we're also meeting with the FBI. Los Angeles Civil Rights Division, their top officials. Very quickly on that. As you know, Pedro Baez's favorite police department. His favorite city, Torrance, California, all-American city. Everybody knows we've been pounding on them, racial profiling. By the way, they've kicked it to a new level now, intimidation and harassment and targeting of Minister Robert Taylor. So all of that's to say, we have pressed for one thing. As you know, Mr. Baez, you are one of the signers on here, one of the calls, for a full, big-ticket, sweeping Justice Department pattern and practice investigation. Tear them apart.
Absolutely.
Of the Torrance Police Department.
And it's also interesting to know, too, that this week Torrance has another issue currently on the out front for everybody to be aware of, and that is Walmart is coming to Torrance, and local labor activists are very concerned about it.
And they well should be. All right, in addition to that, our other good friend here at the Hutchinson Report, Ms. Trish Plone. Who is she? The head of the Department of Child and Family Services. We made a call, very simple, as someone likes to say, she must go. She must resign or be dismissed. We made that call to the LA County Board of Supervisors. She must go. She's been a disaster. The agency is a disaster. It's dysfunctional. Children are dying, been well documented. She must go. We've made the call for the resignation, dismissal, or firing. All right. So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep talking about that. Get the LA Times last week. Good piece on it. Good follow-up piece today in the Times. The Huntington Beach City School District. Speaking of firings, we also made a call for another instructor who called a young special needs student. By the way, he was not in the special needs program, trying to get in the special needs program, asked a question. She called him stupid, hit him over the head with a clipboard. She is still there. We've asked that she be removed. This week, what we did was we filed a formal request with the U.S. Department Office of Civil Rights, a formal complaint against the district, but not so much the teacher, really against the district, another pattern and practice investigation. Because, Pedro, we also got complaints from teachers and students. As you know, we're getting things.
Oh, yes.
Once you open up that Pandora's box, things happen.
Everything comes out.
All right, we also had a great health forum this week. Pedro, I know you were at the Seder, Creative Men.
Yes,
you want to say a quick word about that?
Absolutely. It was like going back into time to the 60s, when it was not uncommon to see African Americans and American Jews gathering together to fight about civil rights, and also sitting down to the Seder table to recall the years of bondage under Pharaoh.
So, in addition to that, Pedro, that evening, we also had the health care reform celebration at Lucy Florence Coffee House. The unique part about that is President Barack Obama made an appearance. You heard me. That's right. He was there, live and in color, via, of course, satellite.
We just passed healthcare reform in America that enshrines the principle that everybody should have basic coverage. And the reason we were able to do it was because of you.
We partnered with the Office of, Organizing for America. As you know, that's Obama's group. And essentially our joint partnership, good turnout, packed house, went over healthcare reform, particularly how it impacts, a little devil in the details there, how it impacts on African Americans and Latinos. So, it was a great event to be had by all. We're also hoping to launch, Pedro, as you know, the White House desk. More on that later. We're also hoping, too, that we can bring something else together. April 17th, a live 2-hour, well, of course it's going to be live. We're still breathing. 2-hour, going to have some corpses there. 2-hour broadcast of the Hutchinson Report. Where? At
Lucy Florence Cultural Center. We will be broadcasting from the community. This is going to be a fantastic event. And just so that everybody knows, next week we are preempted. We will not be here.
All right, so what we're going to do is, LaMonica, what we're going to do is we need to just take a quick break to get set up. We're going to do a quick 5 to 6 minute bus person's tour of news and events of the week. And then we will go right into what we think is one of the most profound, provocative, stimulating conversations with Michelle Alexander, the author of The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. I'm your host on the Hutchinson Report, Earl Ofari Hutchinson, and joining me, my co-host,
Pedro Baez.
And also remember, Ustream.tv, HutchinsonReport.tv. We will be right back. Quick time out. Okay.